Hi students, this is Mr. Yao. Today we're going to talk about 4.9b, where we will learn more about different forms of quadratic functions. Let's start with vertex form or intercept form to standard form. If a quadratic function is in vertex form or intercept form, we will distribute and simplify to write the function in standard form. So for example, Example 1, we are going to rewrite that in standard form. So all we need to do is distribute. We're going to start by doing that, which gives us 10x minus 30 inside the first parentheses. Then we still have this x plus 2 over 5. One thing to make sure is this is all multiplication. So that 10 is not going into the second parentheses. We are only distributing it into the first parentheses. Now I'm going to keep distributing after I got that. So I have 10x squared, 10x times 2/5, that's going to be 4x. Then negative 30 times x is negative 30x. And negative 30 times 2/5, that is negative 12. So altogether, combine like terms, these two, I have 10x squared minus 26x minus 12, with fx equals in the front. That's example 1. Next, example 2. One thing to be careful with is, I've been emphasizing this since unit 1. Whenever you see a square outside, that doesn't mean just square the inside. That means write it twice. So x minus 3 with another x minus 3 and a plus 1 on the end. So we're going to distribute a 2 inside the first one first. We got 2x minus 6, x minus 3 plus 1 on the end. Now we are going to do more distribution. So we got 2x squared, 2x times negative 3, that's negative 6x. Then we have another negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 3, that's plus 18, then plus 1. So we have altogether 2x squared minus 12x plus 19, with an f of x equals in the front. So just a reminder, the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now let's do two more examples. Example 3. Same idea, distribute into the first one. So we got negative 24x. Negative 24 times 3/2, that's negative 36. Then we have x minus 5/3. We can distribute that. So we have negative 24x squared. Then negative 24x times negative 5/3, that's going to be plus 40x. Negative 36x. And negative 36 times negative 5/3, that's going to be plus 60. So altogether, we have negative 24x squared. These two becomes 4x, then plus 60, with f of x in the front. That is example 3. Now example 4. Same thing, you see a square, that means write it twice. So x minus 3/2, x minus 3/2, with negative 12 in the front and a plus 4 on the end. Now let's start distributing these two. So we got negative 12x. Negative 12 times negative 3/2, that is positive 18. Then x minus 3/2 plus 4. So now, start distributing. Negative 12x squared. Negative 12x times negative 3/2, that is going to be positive 18x, with another plus 18x. Then 18 times negative 3/2, that is minus 27, with a plus 4 on the end. Combine them and put them together, we have negative 12x squared plus 36x minus 23. F of x equals in the front. That is example 4. Next, so that's everything for vertex or in the intercept form to standard form. It is basically things we have learned in unit 1, just multiplying them and then simplify. Now the last conversion we are going to talk about is intercept form to vertex form. Of course, we have learned how to change from intercept form to standard form. We just talked about that. We are going to distribute. And we also have talked about from standard form to vertex form. So you can choose to change it into standard form first, and then rewrite the standard form to intercept form, to vertex form using the negative b over 2a as your h, that thing. or you can directly do the intercept. Now let's review what is intercept form. That's a times x minus p times x minus q. And the vertex form is a times x minus h squared then plus k. You can see the a doesn't change, but we have completely different letters. It's changing from pq to hk. Now, because we have the p and the q, we will talk more about this in the next part when we get to graphs. On a quadratic graph, let's say this is our graph. Let's say we have two intercepts here and here. Something special is the vertex will always be right in the middle of these two intercepts. And the intercepts are going to be a p and a q. So that right in the middle, that is going to be p plus q over 2. That is why we are going to use that to find our h first. Then the rest is the same process as a standard form to vertex form. We are going to plug that h into the function to find our k, then write it into vertex form as the final answer. Now let's see a few examples. Example 5. First, we are going to identify our p and q. Remember, this is a, then x minus p, and x minus q. Because that's the form, so this p and q will always need to be being subtracted. So this is basically x minus -1 and x minus -5. That's how we got the +5 and the +1. So my p is -1 and my q is -5. That means my h is a p over q, a p plus q over 2, which is -1 plus -5 over 2, which is -3. And my k is plugging in the h, which is -3, so finding f of -3. That's going to be -3 plus 1 and -3 plus 5. After calculating that, this is -2, that's +2, we're going to get -4. So it's asking to find the vertex. My vertex is hk, so it's got to be -3, -4. As for the vertex form, it's going to be f of x equals, don't forget we do have 1, which is our a, that's how it's going to be in the front. Just if it's 1, we don't write it. So now my h is -3, so it's x minus h, so it's got to be x plus 3 squared. And at the end, plus k, my k is -4, so it's got to be -4. That is my vertex form. That's example 5. Now let's do more practice. Same thing, we're going to need to identify our p and q first. Basically, the p and q are always going to be the number, the opposite of number given. So my p would be -4, and my q would be 2. H is p plus q divided by 2, so -4 plus 2 divided by 2. That's going to be -2 over 2, which is -1. My k is plugging in the -1. So f of -1, that's 2 times -1 plus 4, and -1 minus 2. This is 3, that's -3, so it's 2 times 3 times -3, which is -18. That means my vertex is going to be -1, -18. So next, f of x equals x, remember, is always the opposite for the h as well, because it's x minus h squared plus k with an a in the front. So x minus h is going to be x plus 1 squared, then minus 18. Don't forget your a in the front, that's a 2 in the front. That's example 6. Next, example 7. Same idea, let's identify our p and q first. My p is 1, my q is -5. So my h is p plus q over 2. So it's got to be 1 plus -5 over 2. That is -4 over 2, which is -2. My k is f of -2. So I'm plugging in the -2. That's going to give me -3 in the front, then -2 minus 1, and then -2 plus 5. So I have -3 here and a +3 here. So something you may have noticed this is -3, then times a -3, and times a 3. So these two numbers are opposite. If you go back to the previous example, you may have noticed I have a -2 right here and a 2 right here. They're opposite again. Here I have a 3 and a -3. So basically, when you're plugging in, the two parts inside the parentheses are always going to be opposite. So now let's go back to finish calculating that. That's -3 times -3 times 3, which is a positive 27. So my vertex is going to be -2, 27. Again, when you write the vertex, it is just hk. We don't need to flip the numbers. It's when you write the final form, f of x equals, that's where we need to flip the h. So it's got to be x plus 2 squared, but we keep the k, so plus 27. With, don't forget, your a, -3 in the front. Now number 8. Identify PQ first. My P is going to be -2. My Q is going to be 3. My H is P plus Q, so -2 plus 3 over 2, which is 1/2. My K is F of 1/2, so it's 5 in the front, then 1/2 plus 2, and 1/2 minus 3. That is going to be 5 times 1/2 plus 2 is 5/2. 1/2 minus 3 is -5/2. So again, these two numbers are just the opposite. So 5 times 5/2 times -5/2, we're going to get -125 over 4. Now my vertex is going to be hk, so 1/2 -125 over 4. And my function is going to be x minus, because it's 1/2, so it's going to be -1/2 squared, and add on to the k, which is -125 over 4. Don't forget our a in the front, 5. That is the final vertex form. That is everything for 4.9b. Thank you.